Hey everyone, either welcome back or welcome to my channel. And in today's video, I want to talk about one of my biggest pet peeves, specifically regarding IIH, and that is when people tell me that I look okay or look good, despite the fact that I tell them that I'm dealing with a chronic health condition. So before we get into any more details, time for the intro. Back in 2018, I was diagnosed with IIH. IIH is short for idiopathic intracranial hypertension. In short, in IIH, there's an increased intracranial pressure without a known cause. IIH is known by two older names, pseudotumor cerebri and benign intracranial hypertension. Living with IIH is very hard to explain to others, as it can be hard to tell when I'm not feeling well. My hope is that through these videos we can learn together and help make relationships better through a better understanding. I also hope to provide people living with IIH a community so they never feel like they are alone with this condition. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell down below so that you get updated about further videos. I upload new content every Monday and Thursday afternoon. I'm going to talk about a topic that I probably talked about at length over my videos and have mentioned probably more than once, but I feel like this deserves its own video and it's going to be a part of the series or kind of mini series that I'm doing on living with chronic illnesses. With chronic health conditions, the way we look is not a good judgment in how we might be feeling. I want to get this out of your head that we need to look a certain way to not be feeling well. Yeah, it's a great objective measure to tell that, oh, you don't look so good today. You might want to take it easy. We don't take it as a compliment. We take it as, oh boy, here we go again. Because when you deal with a chronic health condition, especially one like IIH, but particularly with IIH, it can be difficult because the symptoms, like I said, they come in waves, right? So we can do one thing 1 minute, and then maybe the next we're in bed. It can hit so fast, these symptoms. And to be honest, I do tend to start looking really, really bad after several days in a row of extreme pain and symptoms. I'm not gonna lie. I've shared pictures on my Instagram stories, I believe. I don't think I've actually shared it to my feed, but maybe I should be. There's a lot of different ways that we'd like to respond to this, but we probably won't respond in certain ways because it's not appropriate for the situation. But given the chance, there are a few ways that we'd like to respond to you. One is, oh, well, thank you. It's great to know that I look fantastic even though I'm feeling absolutely terrible. I know people will say this as a compliment because, oh, like you look so much better than you're feeling kind of thing, and they'll expect you to take it in a positive light. We don't take it this way. The reason why we don't take it as a positive compliment is because for some of us, getting people to believe us is a very difficult task. So if we have someone who says, oh, you look so good, it might be taken as a fact, well, do you believe me that I'm going through this? Because everything pretty much that is experienced with something like IIH is very subjective. You cannot feel the other person's headache. You cannot see the visual changes that they're having to deal with. You cannot see or experience the pain unless they're physically complaining. And actually, all of this is true. You won't be able to tell unless the person actually openly says, I'm not feeling well right now. It's really, really important that we stop using this for chronic illnesses. If you have a cold or a flu, that's great. Most people will take the, oh, you look so much better, oh, you look so good as a compliment after they've been feeling really, really bad with the cold or flu. But when it comes to a chronic illness, the important thing to remember is that it is chronic. So that person is probably dealing with it either for several years or could be dealing with it for multiple decades, and in some cases, chronic illnesses are for the rest of your life. Now, when you get sick at a very young age, this is a very towering reality. It's a very difficult thing to be able to deal with, and this is particularly why I think some of us go through a grieving process when we initially get diagnosed with a condition like IIH or some of these other conditions very, very young. You know that you're probably going to be dealing with it for a while. I think IIH is a little bit different because if you fit in a category where you're overweight, there is that hope that if you lose weight, your symptoms can go into remission. And I think that's really, really important hope to hang on to. And it's really, really important to strive for that. And like I've said, I've emphasized that so many times. I think a lot of reasons why we don't take this as a compliment too is because of the amount of changes that you have to make. Losing weight, the amount of changes you have to make sometimes to lose weight is mind boggling when you think about how many changes you've had to make. Add in the changes that you have to make in order to be able to live with IIH. You may find certain things that you think bring on headaches. So you'll adjust and stop doing those things. Now, we just adjust because we have to. We're not given a choice. But when you think about everything that you've changed, and people are like, oh, you look so good, you must be doing so well. When you're sacrificing so much to be able to do so well, it's another reason I think why we don't take it as a compliment. It's just like if only you could see the battle underneath. So I think a really, really good example of this is an iceberg. So with an iceberg, you only see a small part of what the person is dealing with. But the reality is, underneath, you see the whole thing. And that underneath portion is significantly larger than the portion you see up top. If living with this condition has taught me anything, it's to honor that iceberg. And what people are willing to show you is so much less compared to what they're actually dealing with in everyday life for the most part. This is something that I have personally actually had struggled with myself. And I'm very polite about it when people tell me I know that they're trying to do it as a compliment, but I think it's important for me to communicate to people who have said this to me, this isn't a compliment. And the best way to improve our relationships is better communication overall. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. And as for now, that's it for today. Bye everyone.